Just wanted to highlight a few things that we've done, accomplished, and places we're going here in the future. A little data. This is part of the new records management system that we purchased at the beginning of the year. We're starting to get in tune with more graphs, charts, and all that rather than just numbers. But as you can see, so far to date, we've been on 1,457 calls for the year so far. That does not include some of the reports that are incomplete, so pretty much all the way up until August. You can see that 72% of our calls are rescue and emergency, basically EMS calls, automobile accidents, and medical calls. Those are broken down into the numbers. We've had 67 fires so far this year, and that includes wildland fires, smoke in the building from a cooking fire, and so forth like that. Rescue and EMS, again, like I said a while ago, 1,056 calls, which is 72% of our calls is EMS or motor vehicle accidents, and on down the line. So pretty average year. We were a little busy in August compared to what I guess it was in the last year or two. So this is the interesting part. All the calls that we go on, we've had 717 of them simultaneously, which means that we dispatch to a call and then we turn around and run another call 2 minutes, 3 minutes later while we're on another call. So almost basically 49.21% of the time we're actually have dual calls going on at the same time, which is a pretty high number actually, especially with the way we function. So. But we always get everything covered, so and that's the main part. And we'll get to that here in a minute. By month, this new information gives us these graphs and charts. It just kind of gives trends and stuff, and over the next few years, we'll be able to see an actual trend. This is the first year that we're tracking a lot of this stuff this way. You can see that February is the slowest. I'm not for sure why, but August kind of picked up a little bit, wildland fires and so forth around. But overall, it's fairly consistent, above 150 calls a month. The busiest day of the week, again, it's kind of level all the way across. Sundays are the slowest. I don't know if it's because football's on or what, but during certain times of the year. But it's the slowest, but not by much. Now this is the other interesting one, is time of the day we get calls. You can see about 8 o'clock in the morning, it goes from about 50, right about there, on up, all the way, and then carries all the way through till basically 10 o'clock at night. So between 8 in the morning, 10 at night, we're the busiest. Slowest is 5 o'clock in the morning, 5 to 6. So again, interesting trends, and then we'll be able to see this over a year's period. And then probably the next time what we'll do is we'll break it down into time of the day, but time of the month, or the month, so we can actually see, when the students come back for the university, if June, July, and August are the slowest, or times of the day and so forth. It'll be interesting to see. So we'll be able to capture most all that as we go forward. Some of the projects we got going on, I thank you. At the last council meeting, I believe we were approved for $7,000, part of a matching grant, 10% of the grant for thermal imaging cameras. We hope to do demonstrations in October and November, write the specs and bid it in November, December. Purchase and install in the vehicles January, February. And basically the key here is all of them are going to be charged and prepared for use at all times. Right now, we have to rely on folks to actually get them out of the back of the vehicle, change the batteries, keep them charged. It's not uncommon sometimes to have them at a low battery and have to switch it out. So all of these 6 units, 3 of them will be installed in the 3 engines. The 4th one will be installed in the command unit, and we're still debating on the other 2 where we're going to actually place them. But they'll all have vehicle chargers, be charged all the time, ready to go. As soon as they come off the truck, they're ready. And the same thing for the multi-gas meters that we just purchased. Basically, it's a 4-gas meter. We bought 4 of those. It also doubles as a pass device, and it also glows in the dark, which is a big deal. A pass device is a personal alerting system, like we have integrated into our SCBAs, our self-contained breathing apparatus. That'll actually do double as if for some reason that malfunctions, we can push the button if we have it with us, and it'll actually serve as a backup pass device. So if we need to go in and find somebody, we can do that. Again, these units came with chargers. We're going to have them installed on all the engines and then the command unit. So that way we don't have to rely on one certain vehicle to be there all the time. We always have an engine typically at every call. And then the command unit could be tied up on another call. Really depends. So this will just create some flexibility that we have. And just so you're aware, we just got word Thursday, Friday. The rural fire district actually got a grant for $3,000 for radios that we wrote. So they'll be purchasing new radios. One of the projects coming up since once the budget starts is mobile data terminals for the command vehicles at first, and then we'll actually expand it from then forward to the engines and the ambulances and so forth. The other big item for the budget for this year was populating the data in our records management system from Spillman. We hope to get that. I talked to Jesse today, and hopefully we're going to get that going after October 1. Get all the bugs and kinks worked out by the first of the year and actually do live data come January 1. That's going to save about 50%, if not more, of data entry time. Just because of the data that they already capture, right now we actually have to print it off, look at it, and then go back into a different system and manually enter it all in. All the calls, all the trucks, all the people. So a lot of that data will automatically be populated. We just need to go in and verify some of the information, finish a narrative, and then close it out. So really it's going to save a lot of time. Our resident program is thriving like you wouldn't believe. We've had, I just got back from a graduation in Spokane where two of our folks hired. We have some volunteers that are actually interviewing around multi-jurisdictional areas and stuff. So our program here is second to none. They want some of our folks, so it's a great place here. Put the time and effort in. The academy class just started 3 weeks ago. It's going pretty well. We have 21 people in it. Nobody's decided to quit yet, so we'll see how long that lasts. But we're due to graduate come November, so hopefully we're going to be graduating 21 at the end. So, and they'll all be Fire 1, Fire 2. They'll have all their Fire 1, Fire 2 classes completed. Some of the training that we've changed a little bit this year, we're doing what's called multi-company and multi-agency training, meaning we have 2 to 3 engines, an engine and a ladder, kind of multi-discipline rescue and engines and ambulances. So doing those trainings together rather than just everybody doing their own single thing all the time. And then we did our first multi-agency training last week or 2 weeks ago over in Pullman over at their training center. So, and it was a learning experience by a lot of folks. But it was a very good training on everybody's aspect. We found some little things that we all can improve on, and so we're going to do that. Live fire training, we're going to do. We're scheduled to do 2 yet this fall. Anybody's welcome to come over and attend and semi-participate if you wish. So, but hopefully we're going to do at least 2 this fall. We're going to try to do at least 4 a year, 2 for the class, and then 2 for other areas. The fund drive for the volunteers is going to start here in October. So just wanted to get the word out there that that's going to be coming out. As far as the EMS goes, I believe that's right, isn't it, Dan? 42? 44. I always get them messed up. But we're doing a remount on one of the ambulances. And basically we're just buying a chassis, and we're taking the box and putting it on that chassis. So it saves probably $60,000, $80,000, roughly, by the time it's all done and completed and purchased. So that's another big project up. Last thing is the volunteers, fire and EMS. Like I said a while ago, you know, for what these folks do, multiple calls, multiple times. Just on Friday alone, an example is being at a call, at an EMS call at a healthcare facility with a possible stroke. And then all of a sudden, there about 2 or 3 minutes, somebody comes running in and says there's a cardiac arrest down the hall. Jeez. And we staff that call in less than 5 minutes with 3 paramedics and 5 other personnel. So it's pretty impressive. But again, that's what our folks do, and that's what they love to do. And it's again, I just couldn't ask for a better place to work. It's awesome. So that's my quick report.
Chief, I got a few questions for you. You talked about the multi-gas meters. When will they be installed, do you know?
Probably in the next couple of weeks. They came in.
Okay, so they're here now?
They're here,
Okay.
Yeah. We just got to work with Fleet, with Rick and Mike and them to get them installed. So.
And you talked about the academy class. You got 21 in this class, and the graduation is going to be sometime in November?
I think it's going to be November by the time. We're trying to
Like on a
squeeze it in.
Saturday, I'm guessing, or something?
I'm sorry.
like
It'll be either Saturday or Sunday.
Okay. And we want to. I went to the one last spring. And was it 16 we had last spring, if I remember right?
At 18.
18. Okay. And Big Dan was there myself, and it'd be great for counselors to go to that because it's a pretty impressive thing. We have a number of these young folks, young men and women that are going through this class, and
They're not all young either.
well, they're well, a lot of
No, they're
them,
not.
their parents and other folks, relatives from all over the place come and get a chance to talk to. So it's kind of nice to get a chance to intermingle and visit with them. I had a great time last spring talking to a bunch of the folks from all over the place: California, Montana, Washington, so on and so forth. And then the last comment I want to make had to do with the wildfires, because our whole area in Idaho, we were on fire and there was smoke in August, and we had kind of a rotating group for a number of, how many people did we have involved in that rotation?
The first call we went on was the Big Lost Fire up in Harvard. We had 2 trucks, I think 6 people.
We go back to Bayview, actually.
Well, yeah, Bayview was in July. Bayview in July, we had 3 trucks, command officer. We were up there for 30 hours, but we also took one of Troy Fire's trucks, and then one of Potlatch's. So we were there for about 30 hours nonstop, no sleep. Got fed steak at 2:30 in the morning, which wasn't bad for 2:30 in the morning. But and then there was the Big Lost Fire in August. We sent 2 trucks, like I said, 6 people. Then we were asked to go to Kamiah. Our truck was there for 14 days, and we rotated people out on a 48-hour basis, 5 people at a time. So over that time period, some people went twice, just because they wanted to go, or a couple folks stayed one extra tour, if you will. And then we also had an ALS ambulance has to be a medic, for 15 days at the Selway Complex fire out by Elk City.
Okay.
Yeah, Elk City. So, but everybody's back and good. So now we're working on the reimbursement component of the project.
Well, the reason I brought that up too is, that was such a issue for all of us here in Idaho, and that's a big deal, and that's a good part of collaboration, working with other departments throughout the state, helping, because you never know when we may be in need of some help sometime, and to me as a mayor, it's a big deal for us, and I think and all those guys, the folks that were involved with that, I certainly appreciate it. Council, have questions for the chief? Art?
I do. Other than expressing appreciation for the department, and especially the volunteers who staff it, they save us all a lot of grief in this town. Really appreciate it. But here's a question based on my curiosity and ignorance, but what is a good intent call?
Good intent could be a multitude of things. It could be a false alarm, just your smoke detector and your battery. I mean, something as simple as that. I can provide you a laundry list of things that.
No, just kind of like the big.
But it's really nothing that amounts to anything, really. It's the intent of the call was I need something, and really I really don't.
No. Okay.
I mean, really, it sounds simple, but I think there's 6 or 7 drop downs under there that fall within a good intent. And the same thing with service calls. It's kind of the same thing. It's just where it falls within good intent or service call.
Dan, you had something?
Yeah, I just wanted to say, Chief was talking about how the data entry later on, after we start getting the reports populated from the Spillman, already we've sped it up probably 2 to 3 times with our new reporting system, and I think, because it used to be we'd handwrite all our reports and then Joe would enter them. Every other command officer, Joe would have to actually enter them. So we're enter them. Yeah, he still babysits us all, make sure we get the right codes in the right places, but I think it's really sped things up as far as this, and I look forward to getting it sped up even a little farther. So, because you still got to wait a couple days before everything gets in there before you can do your reports, and sometimes memories fail, but take good notes. That's our big thing.
Walter, you had a...
Thank you, Mayor. I don't know what a good intent call is, but I think I know why you were a little slow to answer, Chief. He didn't want to give anybody any ideas about what this department will respond to if they're asked to. It's an amazing thing. The citizens of Moscow.
My cat's up a tree.
Well, the cat's the old proverbial. They need real help there. But at any rate, the citizens of Moscow and the surrounding rural area close to Moscow needs to, I think they do, but they need to understand there are 90 to 110 volunteers involved in the Moscow Volunteer Fire Department, ambulance company, and with overlapping to the Moscow Rural Fire Department. The number of bodies that this department and equipment this department can turn out when they're really needed is just amazing. And I'm not just saying that bodies are worth everything in the world. These people know what they're doing. There were a couple of calls over the weekend, just for examples. There was what was originally reported, correct me when I go wrong, as a 50 by 100 ditch grass fire out on the Troy Highway that turned into multiple acres. Ended up with 20 of your volunteers, 5 or 6 brush attack water trucks, 2 command, 3 trucks from Troy, getting after that fire while if you all remember the wind this weekend, they were trying to not only catch it before it got away, but also keep it from doing anything where it had already been. So they really turned out for it. Another call over the weekend was a automobile accident out on the Pullman Highway in front of Howard Hughes. It started off as a 2-vehicle accident. It was then reported as possibly 6 patients. Before it was over, there were 3 ambulances, 2 trucks, 1 command, and on the other side of the coin, nobody here from the PD, about 4 police cars there working that. Turned out nobody had to be transported. It was a group of people, young people that had been to a birthday party, and there was a collision, and they wanted to make sure they were all okay. And they did that and took care of both of those instances. So I'm not going to help Art encourage people to call them just to see how many people you can get out to your house. But they are there, they're available, they're ready, and when you see one of these folks out, thank them very much because they do a lot of good, hard things for the city of Moscow.
Anybody on this side of the podium? All good? Well, Brian? Thank you very much for a wonderful report. Thanks
Thank you.
so much for what the department does for all of us. So.
Just